Have you ever had a feeling that your life was cursed? That you had so many bad things going on in your life, or there was so much garbage in your life that you just thought, I must be cursed or something. Or have you ever felt like your family was cursed? Or have you ever watched the news? And you watch the news, it's like, why do we watch the news? It never leaves us in a spirit of hopefulness. It always leaves us in despair. That feeling of being cursed, that feeling is true. We have been cursed, not by some witch or warlock. We have been cursed by God. That's what we learn when we look at the Old Testament. In the book of Genesis, when Adam and Eve sinned in the garden, we learn that God punished them by giving them a curse. He punished Adam, and from now on, Adam was going to have to work by the sweat of his brow, and he would eventually die. We learned that Eve had a curse in her life, and it dealt with all of her relationships, that there would be tension between her and Adam, that she would have a desire to rule over him, but he would rule over her, and a curse on her children where she would give birth in pain and agony. As you read through the Old Testament, you see that this curse affects everyone. The result of our sin plagues all mankind. And the very last word in the Old Testament, the last word was the word curse. And this is the world Jesus Christ came into. And when he came preaching a message about a blessing. And he counteracted this curse with a message of there is hope and you can be blessed. This powerful message was delivered by a powerful teacher. Jesus was just a great teacher. His delivery was phenomenal. He could deliver a message. When he finished his sermons, it says in Matthew chapter 7 that the people were amazed at his teaching. Because he taught like one with authority, not like everyone else, not like the teachers of the law. That his delivery was just phenomenal, but more than that, his content was so good and rich. I can't think of anything I have to say that could last where 2,000 years from now people would be studying what I had to say. But Jesus, everything he said, we color it in red because it's profound, powerful teaching. And this teaching, one of his greatest messages, was in a sermon that he delivered on a mount called the Sermon on the Mount. It's a sermon that has a lot of very common and familiar passages that you were very much aware of. We know what it teaches. We know that in the Bible it teaches that we're not supposed to judge anyone. Don't judge me, most popular verse in the Bible. And that came from Jesus' teaching on the Sermon on the Mount. Well, we oftentimes hear Jesus talk about, and people quote the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven. We always do that in the King James Version for some reason. Hallowed be thy name, thy. That came from the Sermon on the Mount. It wasn't a prayer he prayed, it was a teaching he taught. If you've ever sang a song when you were a little kid, the wise man built his house upon the rock, it came from this sermon. There's a lot in this sermon that's very, very familiar and very, very profound. At the beginning of this sermon is an introduction that we call the Beatitudes. We call it the Beatitudes because it's a list of blessings. And so here were all these cursed people that lived in a cursed land, and the very last word is curse, and then Jesus is born, and now he starts his ministry, and he comes out swinging to this cursed world, and he goes, blessed. Blessed are you, blessed are you, blessed are you. Let's look at what he says. He says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. And blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. And so Jesus comes with this message of blessings. And since there's several of them, we call them the Beatitudes, many blessings from Jesus. I know something about blessings, and I know something about this word that's used here for blessing. Many years ago, I took my oldest son to an ultrasound room with his two sisters. He was about ready to find out whether or not he was going to be having a boy or girl. Oh man, a brother or a sister, and he wanted a brother so bad. He's already outnumbered 2-1. We came into the room and Mom was already on the bed, all jellied up, and they had the machine and they're looking at the belly and we're looking at all these weird images on a screen, and finally the technician said, "Oh, there, it's a girl!" And I watched as my son cried. He cried in the ultrasound room. He wanted a boy, a brother, so bad. He cried real tears, and he was going, "It's okay, it's okay." And he was going to love his sister, but boy, he wanted a brother. It's okay, though, because he was born into the Kleeman family, which means he'll get another shot at this. Yeah, we're going to go back in this ultrasound room again because we're going to be cranking these kids out. So he came in. It just seemed like weeks later. Hey, we're ready for another kid. He comes in this time with 3 sisters. And boy, he wanted a brother. And their mom's on the table all jellied up. And they're looking around. And oh, here it is. It's a girl. And my son cried again. He was brokenhearted. He wanted a brother so bad. And he's let down again. He cried. We got to the parking lot. He still has tears in his eyes. He wanted a boy so bad. But he's also a member of the Kleeman family. And so we go back again. And this time he goes in with 4 sisters. And we're looking to see, is he going to have a 5th sister or finally that brother? And we're looking. And finally we get there. And it's a boy. And I've heard of smiling from ear to ear, grinning from ear to ear, but I've never seen it. I mean, he smiled from ear to ear. He was so happy. All the sisters were happy for him. Oh, good job. You're going to get a brother. Finally, you won't be alone in this world. Yay! And we're all so happy. And I have kind of this obnoxious laugh. And many of you know what I'm talking about, where it sounds like a car horn. Hee, 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 hee. But my wife has a very beautiful laugh. And my wife began to laugh as she's enjoying her family, who's all celebrating this boy. And as she's doing this, we look at our son's face. There in the ultrasound room, there is his face, sharing in his mother's joy, smiling. 4.5 months along. I believe it was 22 weeks at this time. 22 weeks along. That's not a fetus. That's not a fetus. That is a happy baby sharing his mother's joy. And that smile caused me to leave that room, and I wanted to name that child Happy. And all my kids have Greek names, words that we found in the ancient Greek text that mean something. And so I went and I decided to name him Makario. That's the word used here in Matthew chapter 5 for the Beatitudes. Makario are the poor in spirit. It means blessed. It's having a reason to be happy. You have a reason to be happy. Makario. And this is what Jesus brought. He brought not just the feeling of joy and excitement like you're having a good day. He brought true happiness where you have a reason to be happy. It's a Makario. You are going to be blessed. You cursed people, listen to me. I have a message for you. A beautiful, beautiful, wonderful message. Now I want to make 4 observations about the Beatitudes. And the first observation I want to make when I look at these Beatitudes is I want to just step back and I want to acknowledge that the point of these Beatitudes is not that you need to become something. It's that all of these blessings are truly available for you. That's the point. I don't know if you've ever heard someone say something and read something in a text and you misinterpreted what they said because the way someone says something versus the way you read something can sometimes be different. A lot of people misinterpret the Beatitudes because they read it and they don't hear it. For years, I avoided the Beatitudes because it was confusing to me. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So I want to be blessed by having the kingdom of heaven. So what do I need to do? I need to be poor in spirit? So I stand up and tell everyone, be poor in spirit, everyone. Is that what Jesus was doing? The next one is mourn. Was he telling everyone they needed to cry more? And I was confused because I was reading it, and finally I started to say it out loud, and I started to hear what Jesus was saying as he preached this message to 1,000 people or more on a mount. And as he's proclaiming this message out, he's not telling you what you need to become. He's drawing people in with a powerful introduction. In Independence, Missouri, this year, a senior in high school was getting ready to graduate, and he decided to do a senior prank. It's kind of a funny prank. He decided he would put his school up for sale on Craigslist. I think that's a funny prank. Yeah, he put it up for sale on Craigslist. He had pictures of it. He listed a just good description. And then at the end of his description of the school, it was being sold for like $12,000 or something. And at the end, he put, the reason the school is being sold is because of an upcoming loss of students. Well, he's talking about seniors graduating. But when everyone read it, they couldn't hear his tone of voice. They couldn't see his facial expressions. They read a loss of students coming up, and they thought it was a threat. They called the police. Oh no, is this guy getting ready to do a mass shooting at our school? He was not allowed to walk across the stage for graduation. Oh man, he still graduated, got his diploma, but he got in big trouble because he typed something that you couldn't hear. But if you hear Jesus say the Beatitudes, listen to it. As Jesus stands there and he proclaims, or I guess he's sitting there, but he proclaims, if you're poor, this message is for you. If you are sad, I've got something for you. If you're average and being pushed around by this world, I've got good news for you today. If you want to grow, you come to me. Listen up, everyone. If you're being bullied, come right here. I got a good message for you. It's Jesus drawing everyone in as he's looking at his audience. He's not telling you need to be poor, you need to be this. He says, if you are this, if this is you, you come here. I see you come here. And he's making this message available to everyone. And I want you to know something today. The blessings of Jesus Christ are available for you. You can have it. You can have the blessing of God. You don't have to be cursed. You don't have to live with a cursed family. You don't have to live in a cursed world. Jesus has a blessing, and he's offering it to you today. A second observation I want to make when I look at the Beatitudes is this. Not only are the blessings of Jesus available, but I just notice how complete and perfect each blessing is in and of itself. There's nothing more you need after you receive the blessing of the kingdom of God. What more do you need after that? Hey, I just won something. What did you win? Oh, the kingdom of God. You're set. You're set for life. I am now comforted. I've been crying, I've been weeping, but now I am truly comforted. There's no more tears that need to be shed. I was hungry and thirsty for righteousness, and God filled me. There's no more room. I'm full. I'm done. That each one is complete in and of itself. Once you have it, you're good. Several weeks ago, I took my family to Malden, where we went into the Boot Hill Youth Museum. It was May the 4th. May the 4th be with you day. They're having a big Star Wars theme, and we came in, and my daughter Noema looked, and she saw a lightsaber, one of those cheap little plastic ones that light up when you push a button. And she said, "Dad, can I have one of those?" And I said, "You don't want one of those. It's not going to last. It's made a little cheap plastic. It's going to break easy. Come on, let's keep going." Well, at the end of the event, our family won a raffle. There's a lot of us, so it was kind of unfair to all the other families. We have better odds that the Clemens will win. We put in all these tickets, and we won. We hit the jackpot. And one of the items that we won was that lightsaber that my daughter wanted. She left and she went home. She was so excited. She's cutting up the wall in the house. She's fighting her sister. The next day, I'm sitting at the kitchen table. This lightsaber is in pieces. And I have screwdriver, and I'm looking, I'm going, okay, well, I don't think it's the batteries. The batteries are good. Maybe it's the bulb. I don't know. Can I get a bulb like this somewhere in this world? See, this is why we didn't want it, because it wouldn't last. I could tell it was cheap junk. And I want you to know something. Every blessing in this world doesn't last, but the blessings that Jesus offers, that he makes available to you, it will last. It is complete and perfect in and of itself. A third observation I want to make when I look at the Beatitudes. I want you to notice that these Beatitudes are in present tense. That they are currently being offered right now. The blessing is. It doesn't say, blessed will be the poor in spirit, for they will receive the kingdom of God. It says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will receive the kingdom of God. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. There's a present tense where Jesus comes in and he gives you this blessing right now. And it teaches us something about not only are the promises of God something that you can bank on, but it teaches you of the magnitude of these blessings, that you don't even have it firmly in your grasp yet, and yet you can consider yourselves blessed because God has offered it to you. I am blessed right now, for I am going to be walking down the streets of gold. I am blessed because God was going to fill me up. I am blessed right now because of the blessing of God, that he's going to bless my life so much in the next life. He speaks to a cursed people, and he gives us hope of being blessed today based on his promises of tomorrow. And the fourth observation I want to make, and the final observation, is this. I want you to look at these blessings and notice how each one is so fitting and perfect for each individual. If you are poor, you're blessed because you're going to inherit the kingdom of God. If you're sad and mourning, you are blessed because you are going to be comforted by God. If you're meek and being pushed around by this world, you're going to own the world. If you're bullied, whatever it is, it matches you completely. You hunger and thirst for righteousness, you're going to be filled. It's like he knows what each person needs, and Jesus Christ knows what you need. He knows what you need. He knows why you feel cursed. He knows why you are cursed. He knows your pain. He knows your agony. He knows what you're going through, and he knows the answer. And so I charge you in the sight of God right now to not reject his message. Don't turn the channel. Don't walk away without coming to him and saying, I want to be a part of what you are offering in my life. Lord, You are my teacher. You're my rabbi. You're my blessing. Bless me, Lord. I will follow you. I'm your student. I'm your disciple. Teach me. Direct me. And I'll go.